What if I told you guys? What if I told you guys that Morgellons, I may not be pronouncing it properly, so just bear with me. But what if I told you Morgellians, okay? These are parasites, okay? And you with um, the chemtrails, the toxins, the violations that are done to targets, okay? What if I told you, yeah, they're alerting everybody to stand down or back down because she's live on social media and she is in an area where if we get too close to her, it's going to look too obvious because why would we be so that's what the honking codes and shit for. If y'all don't know what the codes, you got to be privy to this type of shit. They have to utilize a military Morse code style grade of shit to do the shit that they're doing. So it has to look like they're just going to a restaurant, sitting in the car, texting somebody, and they have to use those forms of behavior to cover the real behavior and the real intention behind it. So I haven't done this here, so they really were not expecting me. This is out of character or out of pattern for me here. So I am throwing a little bit of a curveball. But to get the attention back to what I'm really here for, I'm not here for them. These people are really, I hate to say this, but I don't hate to say it. They're really not worth our attention. These are parasitic programs and parasitic people, okay? The way they make money is by being a parasite, okay? So we're wanting to starve them as best we can, no matter how they circle around or tantrum like little bitches, okay? Now, I want to talk about the Morgellons. There's actually, and it's called Morgellons disease, but it's to do with the parasites and what is created as a result of them poisoning the chemtrails. And I don't have all of the information and all of the facts yet. I really don't care about the tantruming bitches. They're all about to dry up in a matter of 72 hours. But as I said, the Morgellians. I recently found out that Morgellons disease can cause somebody, they call it, and you guys forgive me if I don't have all the technical terms and things exact and proper, okay? But there's anger. There's an anger connected to the parasite or the disease. It evokes some kind of anger in the body or the host that is experiencing it. This, in my humble opinion, is also what is used. Okay, we're ignorant to a lot of this stuff. No, I can admit that. My culture, my demographics, my era, you know what I'm saying? My background wasn't taught about shit except for the programmed shit and the reality that we were birthed into. We were not taught shit. Okay? So, Morgellons disease can cause a person to have rage, to call it anger, rage fits or something like that. Okay? Now, yeah, they're not going to get no free press. Sorry, not sorry. Nobody's getting the press. Nobody's going to have to work hard for their little Walmart card today. So, why am I sharing this? Why do I feel like it's important as it pertains to the TI and pertains to some of the behaviors and the things through? These are also that I believe that the toxic corruption individuals and powers that be, whether this is on a micro or a macro scale, the ignorance that they lean into in order to hide what they do, in order to perpetuate an image and a reputation of that target as a madman and a mad woman, because they know that most people walking, 80% of human beings that are walking, no matter how educated and no matter how high IQ they have, there's been things hidden from humanity. They know that a good 80% don't even know nothing about trauma. They know the word trauma, but they don't know nothing about trauma. They know some very limited things about it. So what these people do, then when that target has, they got the Morgellons disease, and they may not even know they have the Morgellons disease, because first and foremost, the sabotagers of their life have been manipulating behind the scene to make sure that they can't stabilize, to take care of themselves good and proper, in order to even know what the fuck is going on pertaining to that. The target may just feel like they're upset because they are being targeted, or, because of an injustice, and, and those are all fair, and those are all, a part of it. But some of what they experience is to do with Morgellons. Just like, they can alchemize and heal, and there's treatment, and there's tools, and things that they get assisted with. But I just want to say, much like post-traumatic stress disorder, much like CPT, all these things, most folks are ignorant to this shit. They're ignorant. They're either ignorant to it or they don't care. Either way, the powers that be, the corrupt leadership, community, family, group, individual, like I said, micro, macro, and everything in between, they know that the rest of society are ignorant. 80%, 80-20 rule. Because there are many things that have been intentionally suppressed. And we have been beat into submission throughout generations, if you're African American, to condition fear of knowing anything outside of what the fuck they stuff down your throat. Because that's the program. So they make it so that people are, either you're too tired, you're too worked, you're too stressed to even fucking care. Shit. Trying to survive. Okay? They know that. And then if anybody get a bright fucking idea to try to expand their knowledge and awareness about stuff, they make sure to try to scare the bejesus out of them from doing it. Make them feel like they're a quack, or make them feel like it's going to put them in danger by seeking knowledge. Okay? I can talk the way because it's what I've lived. Okay? Morgellons. I may not have the pronunciation exact. Morgellons. There's a code to address that. Did y'all know that? I found that out. I didn't even know what it was looking. Shit, bitch. I had that code about 4 years ago, and I didn't even know what the fuck it was. I had that code and was using it, bitch. I didn't know what it was. I was just on some other shit. That could have been my oversoul, because I was like, what the hell's Morgellons? And I was like, well, fuck it. If I have it, I don't want it. Let's abracadabra, activate, sequence, numerical code. And then, I would land on, different folks that are frequency architects and generators to assist with tear that shit up. Tear this shit the fuck down. Crazy some bitches. Tear this shit up. But listen, but I didn't even know what it was. Because, you just be so discombobulated. You don't know what the hell is going on. You just know you're in some kind of Truman Show, Pleasantville, fucking Wizard of Oz, fucking, you know? And, but I'm just being silly. But there are codes for it, along with frequency, along with any medical, I can't, this, again, look at the description box. But in terms of the symptoms of that, they call it rage or anger as a result of the Morgellons disease or Morgellons disease. And just like everything else that these sons of bitches do, it's all about trying to make this person look like they are the ones that are unstable and unwell, when it is them that are investing their millions of dollars, time, money, energy, and resources on stalking, harassing, and violating. Isn't that funny? That's what their psychological warfare tactics are. That's what their driving styles are. That's what the noise and revving shit is. I call it little penis syndrome, but I'm just, let me just get off of that real quick. I'd be like, little penis, little penis. I'm being silly. You have to laugh because it's like only 3-year-olds fucking act like that. Whatever. Okay. I had the pleasure of meeting a 2 or 3-year-old little girl. I want to say 3 years ago, maybe going on 3 years ago, something like that. Cutest little girl ever. She is. I don't care. Listen, I don't get hung up on weird shit like a lot of people. Even if I have some kind of weird, you know what I'm saying? That ain't me. I mean, kids are kids. And I know how to separate that. You know what I'm saying? Kids are kids. They are not, they're born to whom they're born to. And if their people are corrupt, that it doesn't take away from the beautifulness of them. Okay? I had the pleasure. She's so cute. And she was sassy as ever and she seemed advanced, and I always love when I come across kids like that, because it's like, I'll be like, you a lady. You ain't no little girl. You're a lady that's short. You know what I'm saying? You're a lady, bitch. They be having an aura about themselves. I'm like, yeah, because she showless. But she was extra. Her mama, would complain about, because she was extra, okay? But that was natural to being 3. There wasn't nothing wrong with her. She had a big personality. And it was natural for her to, want attention. So she, would do things and stuff like that. Anywho, I don't know really why I said that, but I guess I was trying to equate it to the fact that 3-year-olds conduct like that. 3-year-olds are the ones that, will circle around you until they can get your attention. To make you stop doing what you're doing. Mama, I want to talk to you and you're ignoring me. Okay? I want to talk to you. I want you to look at me. I want you to reference me. I want you to see me. I want you to feel me. And you're ignoring me. So I'm about to start acting up. I'm about to start dancing. I'm about to start being loud. I'm about to start coughing. I'm about to start falling. I'm about to start being extra loud, unnecessarily, oddly, because I need your gaze. I need your focus. I need your mind. I need your attention, and you're not giving it to me. That's what these community organized watch corrupt programs, that's who they are. That's what they hire their people to do. Some of these people are ignorant to it. They really can care less. They just need a check and they just need to stay out of jail. Listen, all of that goes along with all that they do and have been doing. And as the target may end up getting Morgellons disease or having, whatever kind of, if they don't have Morgellons, which I am talking about Morgellons, but if they don't have Morgellons and it's just trauma or what they call reactive abuse, anybody who, dares to educate themselves past the bullshit that they were stuffed originally will learn a little bit of something. Okay? So, again, knowing that 80% of population, depending on the demographic, 80% of population is ignorant about even that. So as the target exhibits reactive abuse because people are harassing them like tantruming 3-year-olds that have big fancy cars. Okay? People with little penis, micro penis syndrome and shit. So they got a huge ass truck with a big ass engine. Big ass, you know what I'm saying? They got these sports cars with, they compensating for something. They compensating. It's that attention. See, I'm telling you, parasite. But so when the world that's ignorant views the target, okay, when they hear the target come on TV and social media and the target is having a rant or they're upset, then they get to, because of the ignorance of the population, they get to perpetuate, see, they crazy. The abuser is the nut. But it has always been this way. It's always, dear. And it's always the people that you least expect. It's never, listen, if you can't take nothing else from this, it's rarely ever, I'm gonna say rarely, never is a big word. It's rarely the individuals that look the part. It's rarely the individuals that look like they trash, that look like that they would be into torture programs, community harassment, stalking, energy harvesting and siphoning. They'll possibly look like Ken and Barbie, Mr. and Mrs. Conservative, Mr. and Mrs. Professional, Mr. and Mrs. Upstanding, Mr. and Mrs. Philanthropist, Mr. and Mrs. hashtag career goals, Mr. and Mrs. Traditional, Mr. and Mrs. Christian, Mr. and Mrs. Mormon, Mr. and Mrs. Catholic, Mr. and Mrs. The Chosen, Mr. and whatever. They rarely, their matrix uniform is rarely gonna appear that way. So when they do start talking about the target, because the target is in their authenticity, that's what makes them different than them. So when they talk about the target, and when the target starts to experience whether they are having Morgellons disease or they're having, symptoms of CPTSD or reactive abuse, which, if, like, I'm gonna keep saying it, broken record, if people educate themselves for 5 minutes past, they might learn something. Instead of equating it to that person must be off balance, this person is crazy, this person is insane, this person is all these things. Covert abusers are sociopaths. 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 What does that mean? They have a fake persona and an image. That's what it means. That they are trying to convince the world that they are, and that they are paying good money, energy, time, and resources to try to rid of any evidence that can prove them different than what they want people to believe they are. That's what a sociopath is. Covert abusers are sociopaths. If they were not, they would be an overt abuser, and they would fall into the category perhaps of a little bit more just psychotic, psychopath, because they don't have the filter. They're all parasitic, okay? But I'm just sharing information to help those who are open to hearing, those that are not in all this shit, in terms of how they do what they do, how they use the abuse on the target against the target, how they use the abuse on the target against the target. So ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is hurting a lot of people. Ignorance is not bliss. Now, just like the Matrix, the very first Matrix, and the sellout nigga wanted to be plugged back in. To me, that's like that reincarnation loop. I'll make a deal. I'll be one of your representatives, and I will sell out anybody who is daring to be an individual thinker if you agree to make sure I am successful, that I have money, that I am well-to-do, that my family, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Because he had a weak spine and a weak character and a weak heart. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is why people don't know how to differentiate between who's an abuser and who's not an abuser. Ignorance is why people are supporting pedophiles, molesters, rapists, human traffickers, while people are holding them on a pedestal. It's due to ignorance. Ignorance is why people are often supporting the wrong people and failing to support the correct ones. So ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is stupidity. Ignorance is detrimental. But some prefer, like the Matrix, the weak link of the group. He was a weak motherfucker. It is what it is, nigga. It is what it is. He couldn't fade it. He couldn't fade it. He couldn't fade it. So he sold out. He sold himself out, and he sold his group out. That's what NPCs are. And they become the architects of karmic bullshit. Ignorance is not bliss. So the target, they too, because they know the 80-20 rule, that most of the population is ignorant. And that they're going to believe the junk, the hype that they're being told by Ken and Barbie. So they embrace their authentic self, but it's kind of also why they a lot of people wonder why the separation. Well, the powers that be make sure of it. They tamper with these relationships and they turn people against them because of all the ignorance. They go to these companies, these businesses, and they convince folks a bunch of lies. So the target then decides, okay, much like in the Matrix, in the first one, you can't trust nobody because they're controlled by the system of corruption. So they can't be trusted. And their behavior, here's the cool part, or should I say the unfortunate part, the people's behaviors only co-signs it. How they start operating, it only co-signs what the target knows. Okay? But anywho, that was a little bit of extra information. Okay, Morgellons. Somebody should type up Morgellons disease Morgellons. Type up symptoms, type up, you know, how one gets it. Okay. And then guess what? That's going to help you to understand a lot. But a lot of humans is just too lazy. They're just too lazy. They're too lazy. It's easier to assume that somebody is just a whack job. It's easier just to assume that somebody is just having a midlife crisis. That's easier. It's easier to assume that somebody is just salty behind whatever. And sometimes that's not the case. Okay? Morgellons disease. They call it Morgellons disease, anger, rage, or something like that. Just like reactive abuse, type that in as well so you can know what that's about. But just like reactive abuse, it's used to make the target. Okay. Now I'm about to move right past all this stuff, left past all this stuff, in this now, all past this stuff. Do some nature walking, do some grounding and some clearing, and assist my son and prepare for our journey. This is a cesspool. A lot of these organizations were honeypots. I already knew that every time I reached out to an entity, I already saw all of their ops right behind me. And that's what they don't understand. I already knew it. It didn't matter about how nice the people were, and it didn't even matter about the help they offered, because in some cases that's a part of the trap anyway. Buy us some time, convince them that you're helping, pay for a couple things. Hopefully they'll have to spend their money because, you got to live. It's a nice idea to be able to hold on to stuff, but it's like, hopefully, they think something's going to work out and they'll spend and then they'll be stuck and we'll get to, and not, nigga, and not.